So welcome everyone. For this new webinar, the theme for today is how to easily manage your digital certificates with BerryCert and IDnomic PKI. Today I will be speaking with Dan and Theo. Welcome guys.
Hello.
Hello.
Yep. And during this webinar, you will be able to ask questions. So do not hesitate to ask them in the tab questions at the bottom right of your browser in Livestorm, and we will answer them at the end of the webinar. So just a quick intro of the different speakers. I'm Alexis Janin. I am the Chief Product Officer of Digitalberry and also a co-founder. Digitalberry is a software publisher around the digital certificates, and we developed the solution that we talk today, which is BerryCert. It's called a Certificate Lifecycle Management, a CLM solution, and that acts as a registration authority and do everything with your server in front of the PKI. Dan, Theo, I'll let you introduce yourself.
Yeah, thank you. May I start? So my name is Dan Butnaro. I'm product marketing manager for Atos business unit called Digital ID. So Digital ID, in short, is a business unit that covers former companies that have been acquired by Atos, which is IDnomic here in France, CryptoVision in Germany, CartOS. So in short, our business unit produces, deploys, and uses digital identity. So we have solutions that are for producing digital identities, electronic certificates, put them, for example, on smart cards and use like signature or high-end application.
Okay, and I am Theo Dumoulin. I am a pre-sales engineer, and I work in the same entity as Dan, Digital ID. And I think it was pretty clear from Dan, so I have nothing to add more. I'm a specialist about PKI and CMS subjects.
Okay, cool. Thank you, Theo. Thank you, Dan. Before we start, I will publish a poll for everyone to understand what are the main issues you have on the PKI migration, because this is what we will talk about in more details today. So to debate at the end of this webinar, we need to know what are your issues. So please answer it so we can have a talk about that. And then I'll let you continue to introduce Digital ID.
Yeah, thank you. So as I said, the objective of our business unit is to propose solutions that produce, deploy, and use digital identities. So our solutions that we propose for different segments, just to give you a very rough overview. So we cover IT security, corporate security, so enterprise security, where we offer everything which is linked to digital identity for the needs of an organization, public or private. So securing, for example, employees or securing servers of the company. We are addressing a very specific market segment, which is connected cars, or vehicle to infrastructure communications, where by standard PKI services are specified, and we have dedicated software solutions for this segment. Then, of course, we address the IoT market, so IoT security in particular, meaning to be able to identify each device which is connected in a large network and secure communication of different objects to object communication. And last but not least, the government, e-government segment, where we secure with our solutions identities of the citizens the sovereign documents, so e-passports, e-ID cards, and we deliver high-end applications like securing emails and file transfer for government to citizens, but also government to government, and even in the private market. So this is just to give you an overview on different segments that we cover. Maybe we can get to the next slide, please. Yeah, and as IDnomic PKI is one of the focus now of this webinar, ID PKI is really the flagship of our solutions because it's really the heart of PKI, which is in charge of producing digital identities. So to give you a short overview of some key differentiators. So flexible deployment, we are able to deploy our PKI solution either on premises at the customer side or in SaaS in our data center. High performance, knowing where we come from. So we are able with the same product to produce millions of electronic certificates, typically for big IoT networks or for government EID projects, but also for big multinational corporations that need in different places to deploy those certificates. Highly secure, not only in terms of best practices, but also in terms of security, external security certifications like Common Criteria EL4+. Great customer experience. You will see afterwards a demo on parts of our solution. So our products are very much GUI driven. So it is not an expert software that can be used only by experts. We really care on being able to have an understandable and fluid user experience. Large support in terms of hardware, in terms of software components. So using different smart cards, for example, being able to deploy certificates on lots of different smart cards. And field proven, this is given by our large number of existing customers and hopefully the customers that will grow. So more than 200 active reference that we have. So globally, this is really the IDnomic PKI is the flagship, the key, and the center of our PKI products and services. Next slide, please. Yeah. Theo, do you want me just to comment shortly on this, maybe on the software map, or do you want? Maybe I can give a very short.
Yeah, you can. Yeah.
So, in short, from a PKI point of view, we divide the world in two parts. It's as easy as that. It's users or machine devices. So, meaning that when we talk about deploying digital identities, electronic certificates to users, we are deploying this and propagating this through different vehicles. It could be certificates on smart cards, on virtual smart cards, TPM, like you have, for example, in mobile computers, on mobile devices with an MDM, mobile device management system, or on what we call key stores, so inside the PC. So globally, we are addressing the user through his devices that he carries on. This is going through something called a credential management system, and it is fed by IDnomic CA as the heart of production center of digital identities. On the other side, we have machines, meaning the world of certificates that are for servers, for network devices, for routers, for 4G, 5G antenna. And then we go through different interfaces that are linked to specific protocols of propagation of digital identities certificates. And last but not least, the other part is, as I said before, focusing on usage of certificates. And then we have different modules like timestamping, like online certificate status protocol, responders, and digital signature applications. So this is globally what we call software map, meaning the spectrum of users or machines that we address and through the different modules that we address. Thank you. And next slide.
Yeah, thank you, Dan. So as we could see, there is a growing number of certificates because there is many use cases and usage of them. And this is what the first problem and why it's hard currently to manage the certificates. First, because companies do not know the number of certificates they have. So if you do not know certificate, you can't manage it, of course. And this is linked to the second point, which is that 60% of companies already suffer the service outages. So you can see that the number is close to the first one. The companies that do not know the number of certificates they have, so they can't master it if they don't have any view on it. So it's logical that some may miss an expiration, for example, of a certificate and suffer service outages. And also all that service outages as a cost. So it's today impossible to not manage automatically, or at least having a solution to help you to manage your certificates. So this is the context. We have many certificates to manage on different type of applications. It could be Apache, an F5, it could be an IAS, etc. And you will have multiple sources of certificates. It will be your ID PKI, it will be a public CA, and everything needs to be managed globally in a central point, which is BerryCert. So the goal is to master your certificates with BerryCert. What you will be able to do with BerryCert to help you on that? First, we will give you the tools to discover all your certificates. We will be able to discover certificates on your PKI. That's the easy part. We will just synchronize the data from your different PKIs to a central point, which is BerryCert. But we will also scan every server, your network, your application to find all the certificates you have on your IaaS. So this is really important because when you have your certificates and you discover it, you know where it's deployed, you can manage it. When you have this inventory of certificates, you will be you will receive alerts, be able to monitor the expiration, the non-compliance of your certificate, and at the end, you will also be able to automate the life cycle of your certificate, which could be it can be the renewal, the revocation, and so on, and the deployment, of course. With only one tool, which is BerryCert. So in this case, we'll talk about a specific topic, which is the migration of PKI. There's many issues when you want to migrate your PKI. For example, you have a Microsoft CA and want to migrate to ID PKI, and you will have some issues. And this was the goal of the poll. If I go in the poll tab just to see the answers, the first one is the first point that you saw here in the slide, which is the migration of certificates. Of course, this is the main functionality that BerryCert will give you when migrating from, for example, Microsoft CA to ID PKI. If Microsoft CA is your previous CA, will be connecting to it to synchronize the data, be able to identify where your certificates are used, where the instances of your certificates are, and based on that, connect your new PKI, your ID PKI, and migrate every certificate from your Microsoft to ID PKI. It's not a PKI migration, it's only a migration of certificates, which means you can have new certification authorities on your new PKI, or you can migrate the previous the certification authorities from Microsoft to IDPKI. It's another choice, and it's out of BerryCert functionality. Second point in the poll is the third one here, the transfer of CA. So this topic, as I said, is outside of BerryCert. We won't help you on that. You need to ask to your new editor to help you to migrate from your previous PKI to the new one. The goal is to migrate the certificate authorities. I don't know, Dan or Theo, if you have a word about that. I think you have more experience than me on that.
Yeah, usually it's a difficult task during a PKI project migration. And usually where we spend most time is during the migration of certificates, because it can be painful because during a long period you will have two PKI and you will need to obtain the new certificates on the new infrastructure, but some users can still ask certificates on the old infrastructure, so it can be painful in terms of delays, and the transfers of CA usually are difficult, especially when you are using HSM and you want to move on another type of HSM. And in this case, it's really painful during PKI migration. Based on functionality offers by BerryCert, you have the ability to spend less time on the migration of certificates, because you won't need to migrate certificates from a database to another one. You will just ask for new certificate on the new infrastructure, and they will be delivered and installed on the appropriate machines in an easy way.
Yeah, of course. And also it can be a smooth move between the previous CA and to the new one. So you have time to migrate if you need to. So this is another useful point of BerryCert. And the third one, and we will move on the demo, it's the migration of thruster based on your answers. This is also our first 3 points. So that's common, the common, I would say, answers. The migration of thrusters. This one, in the case of when you migrate your PKI, you don't want to migrate your CAs. You will create new CAs. The issue here is to tell every application to use new certification authorities to be able to validate client or server certificates. So in this case, you need also BerryCert to deploy the certification authorities on the thrusters, which can be a GKS and a PEM, etc., etc. So these are the three main issues for me.
And this is really useful to use BerryCert for the migration of a thruster, because if you want to do it manually, it will take a lot of time, because you will update manually all the key stores and all the trust stores of your applications, especially a Java application. Once again, it's a good way to simplify it.
Yeah, and you need to have the tool to do the change. So if it's GKS, you need to have the tool to manipulate GKS. If it's PEM, you need to know how to do it, etc., etc. So better to have a tool specialized doing that for you. Okay, if you have other issue that we didn't talk about today, do not hesitate to in the chat to ask a question, give your other issue, so that some also answered other issue. So do not hesitate. And we'll finish this webinar with a demonstration of both products to give you an overview of our joint solution offering. Theo, maybe you want to start? You take the chair, maybe.
Yeah, okay. Okay. Is it okay for you? Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so basically this is the user and administrator interface of our IDnomic PKI CA, which is IDCA. Basically, you can see on the screen we can search for certificates with this functionality. And for example, here we are in a specific partition that we have created for our partner Digitalberry. And in this partition, there is all the configuration that are used by BerryCert to ask for certificates on this PKI and to replace the old certificates from another PKI with the ones that has been obtained on IDCA. And we can see all the certificates that have been already delivered by BerryCert using IDCA. They are just listed right there. We can see their details. We can change the status, etc. And what it is important to show on this demonstration is more related on what is needed by BerryCert to work with our IDCA to ask for the certificate and migrate all the certificate of the previous solution on the new one. And in terms of configurations in this partition, we have created certification authority, which is called Digitalberry Demo Issuing CA. If we want to see what parameters has been used for this CA, we just need to click. We can see the certificate that we have configured for this CA. Okay, and we can manage and configure every parameters we want in terms of key types, key size, elliptic curves, which specific algorithm to use for encipherment, for signature, all the information with which will be in the DN, and all the extensions, for example, the CRL distribution points, etc. And we can also configure how the CRL will be issued each day at this time. And the second part, because if we want to issue certificate, we want to have one a CA, which is able to sign certificates. This is the case. And we want to have certificate profiles to cover different needs. For example, TLS certificates or user certificates, etc. And so we can configure this kind of certificate profiles in this menu. And for example, we can check Atos Demo SSL Server Authentication Profile, which is a profile we have configured to issue SSL Server Authentication certificates. And if we check this profile, we can see that it is delivered by the Digitalberry Demo Issuing CA. We can check all the parameters. So this is basically common configuration with 2 years durations and classical parameters for the public key. We can do both centralized and decentralized, of course. And then we have the configuration of the DN for the certificate. For example, if the certificate needs to have the command name of the machine, we can set up this command name and we will retrieve it and put it in the certificate based on the information provided by BerryCert. And the key usage configuration, so everything is possible, everything you need to do in terms of cryptographic use cases can be achieved with these configurations. And then the extensions tab to provide, for example, the serial distribution point. So this is basically the two configuration that we want to show today, because this is the configuration that will be used by BerryCert to renew the certificates that has been issued first by an old technology, another PKI, and we want to move on this PKI based on IDCA. So we need to have a certificate authority and certificate profile. So that's it. The last thing I want to show you is we have talked about the partition system, which is, I think Alexi will talk about it, but which is the same concept inside BerryCert. They called it organization inside BerryCert, but this is the same thing for us. In terms of concept, we can isolate configuration, but we can say configuration from a root level can be accessed by partitions from child level. And so configuration in partition from the same level won't be accessible from users that acts in specific partitions. Okay, and then we need to create a certificate for BerryCert to talk with our product, with IDCA, and we need to put the rights on these certificates to manage our APIs and be able to ask for certificates based on the certificate we have configured for BerryCert. So for example, this is a certificate of Alexis that is used in this demonstration. And if we click on it, we can see that we can add roles to this identity because our right management system is based on role. This is role-based access control, basically. And we can put roles on specific partitions, on the wall partitions, or you can have some rights on a partitions and other type of rights on another partition. So we have full control for this certificate because this certificate can do everything on Digitalberry partition because they manage their own partitions on our demo platform. So you will understand that BerryCert needs a certificate to connect on IDCA to ask for certificates based on a certificate profile, and those certificates are issued by a specific certification authority.
Yeah. Perfect. Thank you, Theo, for the demonstration of IDCA. And now I will show you. I will maximize this one. How BerryCert is connected to your ID PKI, which is your new PKI in this demonstration. We will migrate from the previous one to the new one. And here you can see that we are linked to the partition that Theo showed us right before. So this is we use the same PKI, and we will use a dedicated certificate profile, which is also the one that Theo showed you. And now that I have everything connecting between the solutions, so it's quite easy to connect your PKI with BerryCert because you just have to create your credentials, create your PKI, provide the FQDN, the port, and that's all, and launch synchronization. So you can synchronize certificate authority, and certificate profile to be able to use them inside BerryCert, and to being able to configure your issuance policy. So it means how you will issue your certificate. It's not the type of the certificate, which is defined by the PKI, as Theo show us. BerryCert just tell to the application or to the user how they would be able to issue the certificate. So as I said previously, first, you need to discover your certificate. In this demonstration, I will show you how we discover certificates on an Apache, which is this one, and we will focus on this certificate, which is already expired. So it's funnier for me to show you a renewal of this certificate. And I will launch the scan. You can give a name, so you can find it easier later. And launch the scan. Here we will ask to the agent on the server to pass the configuration of the Apache. and find all certificates that are configured inside the configurations. When the agent finish the scan, it will send us a report. So you will, in some seconds, see the report here with here close to the end. Okay, succeeded. And now you can see that we found 6 certificates. You can click here to have a filtered view on the certificate inventory. And we find the expired certificate. You have visual alert here. You also have the expired in column here that show you the number of days remaining before the expiration. This one is already expired. And based on that, you can renew it. When you renew your certificate, you will choose how you renew it. Here for me, I connect to the SSL profile of Theo, and we will ask to the server to generate a new key pair on the server, because it's better to generate it on the server. So you keep the private key private. And with that, we will receive a request, a certification request from the server, which is signed by the new private key. And this certification request include everything we want inside the certificate. You will be able, based on role, just like you have on IDnomic PKI, you can be registration officer on BerryCert, which give you the right to approve or decline every certificate request. You have other roles, but just give you an overview on this one. I'm doing the demonstration using an administrator role, so I have every right on the product. And when you approve the request, we will send the certification request to the PKI to have a signed certificate to have a certificate issued by the CA. So we will see here that now the status is submitted to the PKI. It means that we was able to send the CSR to the PKI, and now the goal is to get back the certificates. So in this case, we have an automatic issuance on IDP PKI. But for example, if you have a public CA that need to validate your company, your some people inside your company, we will need BerryCert will need to wait that this procedure is validated to have the new certificate issued. So here you will see that we'll have a new certificate. The request is signed. If I go back in the certificate inventory, you will see that I have a new certificate. Just you can see that previously I had a certificate on a PKI that is not even connected to BerryCert, because we do not need to. We just have to discover it, and we are able to manage it with the new PKI. So I can only connect ID PKI. I don't have to even know the previous one to be able to renew it. And now that I have my new certificate with exactly the same information that I had previously on the previous certificate, I can now deploy it on my application server. So of course, I'm showing you everything manually, but you can schedule tasks to be able to renew automatically, to deploy automatically based on multi-criteria. So you can do everything you want when automating. And at the end, you will have this certificate that will be managed by BerryCert. And if I refresh in some seconds, you will see that the Apache will have been restarted, and to take into account the new certificate I pushed to it. So now you can see the page behind the certificate alerts, and you see the new certificate, which now is valid, issued by the CA on ID PKI. And that's all. It's an example of Apache We support many application server and network appliance like F5. So you can manage certificates everywhere on your information system. So do not hesitate to ask questions if you want to know more about specific topic, and we will answer it now. I don't know if Dan or Theo, you have last words before we take question.
Maybe to sum up, so we're talking about something, a keyword that you often hear is about PKI automation. So globally, what are we doing with together with BerryCert and IDnomic PKI? We are managing in a mostly automated way the life cycle of certificates, meaning when you have a really in the field real life PKI deployment, you always have to deal with a lot of different certificates on servers that you might oversee. So it's very crucial that you are able in an automated way to deal with all those certificates, especially when we talk about server certificates. And what is linked to this automatic management is the fact that if you oversee one or two certificates on a server, this is typically where hackers will come, where security breaches will be open. And this is why it's so important to have a complete and exhaustive management of your digital identities inside some servers. This is maybe also better for you to understand the background of those of this presentation is what is the added value of BerryCert and IDnomic PKI is the fact that we put in that we underline the automated management of PKI credentials.
Thank you, Dan. Now we will take the question you have. So the first one, not sure if I already answered it or not. Do you also manage public CA like DigiCert? Yes, I can show you that. Where is my? Yeah, it's here. We can manage your private CA and also your public CA. We have the connector for DigiCert. We can also manage Sectigo, Let's Encrypt, Amazon Certificate Manager. Sorry, where I am. Yeah, I'm here. So you have this one, and we can also manage external certificates that are not shown here. So we have really multiple support of PKI. Next question. How is the certificate from the IDCA deployed on the Apache server? So this is the first part of the question. I think it's a more BerryCert question. This is BerryCert that doing the job. I showed you how to deploy a certificate. A certification authority is also a certificate, so it's quite the same. And when I can show you here that we manage many type. It's file extensions, but we also manage the file formats behind that. So usually you have your transfer in GKS, in PEM, or for Windows in the Windows Store. So we manage everything, and we deploy it inside it to have the application. The application server being able to authenticate the other parts. And the second part of this question, did the IDCA or BerryCert also manage the Apache web server to apply the new SSL certificate key star? So yeah, the answer is this is what I showed you today. We pushed the certificate. Pushed isn't the right word because we can push the certificate, or it can be a pull from the server. So we have both mode of you can have both mode, and yes, we apply the new certificate on the Apache, which means it will take into account the new one and restart using this one. Which means that you don't have to do any operation on your Apache to be able to manage automatically the certificate. So I hope
and to emphasize, it's really it's an automatic process.
Yeah. Of course. And I showed the demonstration using our proprietary protocol, but we also support the standard enrollment protocol, and you can use any of them to manage. For example, in one case, you want to manage your Apache using Acme client like Cerbot. In another case, you want to manage F5 using BerryCert, etc., etc. So you can do any combination you want about that. And another question, which is a large one, but maybe we can have a quick talk about that. What about crypto agility? So the crypto agility is something that we need to take into account in both projects. It means that in IDCA, we need to manage new crypto algorithm to be able to change the algorithm of the keys used by the certificates. And also, you need to have BerryCert to be able to apply the change on every server application, which means if you want to renew every certificate of your that you have on your IS using BerryCert to use a new, for example, a post-quantum resistant algorithm, you will be able to do that if IDCA and BerryCert support the same algorithm. I don't know if you have another word about crypto agility, because it's really a big topic and a large topic. Dan or Theo?
Yeah, it's true. Again, crypto agility is the fact to be able to change the algorithm. This is something that is part of I'll say roadmap management and feature that we will implement, and we're following the standards and the trends that arise.
Yeah. Also, the French National Agency of Security recommend to be crypto agile this year to be prepared to the next move of the crypto algorithm change. So this is something that you need to take into account. We think that the post quantum is in some years, but in fact it's now. So you need to be prepared to do that. And now you also have other topics to address, like managing correctly your certificate. So be ready for that. I don't know if there is another question or not. Don't see any other question. So thank you, everyone. Thanks for this webinar. Do not hesitate to contact us if you have further questions. We will answer them after this webinar, and happy to have you in another call for example, a further demo.